Hey guys, welcome back, or welcome if you're new. Today we're going to be starting Rexie Reno's. We're going to be making a few modifications, updating a few things after nearly 3 years of use. Today we're going to be starting with a small little project. We're going to attempt, we'll see how we go, to make a little table / bar. It's going to extend off the back of the canopy. I'm going to insert what we're trying to attempt to make. So we headed into Bunnings today to pick up a few things. We got some stain that is hopefully similar to the stain that's already on my kitchen cabinets in my car. A cobweb brush that we're going to attempt to use as the supporting leg on the table. We got some vinyl squares that we're going to use as the top. And then we're just using wood that Riley had left over from some of his other projects. So let's get into it. Last night we added the vinyl onto the top of the board. Looks pretty cool. Hopefully it will do a good job at just protecting it a bit more, so if we have anything wet or anything it won't get damaged. But today we're going to add the stain to the bottom and the sides. We did consider painting it black, but I think in the end it was cheaper to buy the stain than buy some black paint. And I didn't really want to carpet it because nothing else in my car is carpeted in my back setup, and I just think it would look a bit weird. Whereas hopefully this stain should be pretty similar to the one that's already in there. Can't actually remember what stain we used because it was nearly 3 years ago that we did my kitchen setup. But we ended up getting Black Japan in the Feast Western stain from Bunnings. And from the samples that they had there, it looked pretty similar. So we'll see how we go. So I've just got a little cheap paintbrush, that's what it says to use to apply it. So we'll see how we go. Oh yeah, so it does look, it looks pretty spot on to what's in my car. So not that you will see the underside that much anyway, because obviously it's the underside, but it's just nice to have it all matching. And the grey liner is a similar tone as well to everything that's in my car, so should be all matching. Alright, gonna chuck these in a time lapse and I'll get on to staining this.
Heated up the end and squished it. I'm just going to be drilling a hole in it for a bolt to go through. Straight through the middle, just so our bracket can actually be mounted to something.
And so this is the bracket that allows our leg to go obviously like up and down so that we can fold it up and put it in the car. So it's going to get drilled in.
So now we actually got it on. It's not stable at all. So what we'll try to do is we've got these hooks here that hook directly over inside the canopy. We're going to cut down this side, attach these to the bottom, and hopefully that'll make it more stable because then we can actually hook it in and then pull it forwards, hopefully. We'll try that out now. So I've just cut off the little brackets I'm going to use, and I cut other hooks off these other hooks and I will mount them now.
So yeah, all done. Next weekend we're planning on going camping, so we'll be able to give it a whiz, see how sturdy she is and if she's any good. At the end of the video we'll go through how much it cost us to make it, so you guys can give it a try too. It's a lot later on. We got here at like 2 o'clock and then it pretty much has just rained all afternoon. Our table was getting wet, so we ended up putting it away because it was dripping from the canopy and through the gazebo, so it was getting all wet. We had trouble trying to start our fire and just nothing was working, so we're like not filming when we weren't having a good time. But the sun's come out, rain's gone away, and we're just about to start cooking dinner. To start with, we're going to cook some Alfredo, and I'm excited to be able to use our new bench to prep. So let's get into it. Alright, so we're cheaters and we're just going to use Alfredo packet. We're camping, we don't tend to do big complex meals when we go camping, so we've just got the basic Alfredo mix. For this you just need the mix, milk and butter. Alright, we're going to get this in our pan. Alright, if I use my teeth because it's only for us, I'm not cooking for anyone else. It's just so much more convenient having this bench because normally when we cook or go camping, we'll put stuff in this little gap here, and then when we need to open the fridge, we have to slide it this way. But then we need to get in the drawer, so then we're having to slide it back, and it's just that constant of sliding it back and forth to get into all the different areas. And it's just a pain. Like, it really extends the amount of time that we're having to cook and prep. And we have our other smaller table still with our cooker on it, but when the cooker's on it, that doesn't leave you very much room to prep. So that's why we were using this as just spare space to cook. Anyway, I'm going to put all our ingredients in here and then we're going to chuck her on the gas cooker. With our Alfredo, we're going to have some homemade sausages, thanks to my dad, which we'll be cooking on the fire. This is a great fire pit. It's a June one. We've had it for a while now, and yeah, it's good to cook on. We like to do burgers and burgers, bacon, eggs, all your camping essentials. Bella's a Springer Spaniel, so she loves going in the water, and we were trying to dry her off because she was wet, so we were playing ball with her, and then she decided that she was going to go for another swim, and she was swimming down the river, so now she's soaking wet again. So I'm just trying to dry her off a bit because she's a bit cold. Hey. Not our usual scheduled content that we had planned. We had planned to show you guys cooking breakfast, making Milos, you know, getting some good use out of our new bench. But unfortunately we had a bit of a crazy night, and I mean, it wasn't unfortunate, but I mean, we missed out on the rest of our camping trip and to film some content. But to get into the story, We ended up going to bed really early because it was cold and we couldn't get the fire going well enough to keep us warm. So we ended up just going to bed pretty early. And at like 8 o'clock, I could hear all this noise, so I woke Riley up and asked him to check on Bella because I just thought it was Bella. And he sat up and he's opened the tent up to have a look and he goes, "What's that? What's that?" And I'm freaking out thinking, you know, there's someone standing there, there's a car there, you know, all these bad things that it could be. And he goes, "No, there's a tree on fire." So I spring out of bed to check, and yeah, 100 meters in the distance there was this big tree on fire. It looked like, you know, like a fireball in the sky. Anyway, so we've jumped out of the rooftop tent, gone to have a look, and yep, we weren't dreaming, it was actually on fire. So Riley started packing up everything just to be cautious. Yes, it's been raining a lot, yes, it's been wet, but you never know with these things. You know, the tree could fall over, it could somehow spark and get going. So while he was packing away, I called 000. They weren't too concerned, which I understand, but at the time we were quite stressed about it because we'd never obviously experienced anything like that. So yeah, we've packed up and we're just sitting there waiting and wondering, well, is someone actually coming to have a look at this, or, you know, what's the deal? I had a call about 40 minutes in and it's from Parks and Wildlife and they've just asked for all the information and our location, so we gave that to them. They said that someone was going to go have a look at it in the morning to check it out, just to make sure that it was out and nothing was spreading. But yeah, we were like, how did it start? You know, what's happened? And I put two and two together, and about half an hour before we realised it was on fire, I heard a kaboom. And in the area that we were in, there's quite often people shooting, so I just assumed that it was a gunshot in the distance. But after putting two and two together, I realised that it was more likely lightning, and it was lightning that had hit the tree. It was quite, I still don't know if that's what had happened because it wasn't loud enough considering how close it actually was. And I mean, it must have been a pretty small strike if that's what it was, but it was on the track, so it could have been from a motorbike driving past, a car driving past. It could have been anything really that caused it. But so anyway, we decided to pack up and we ended up leaving. As we left, it was pretty much just embers at that point, so we weren't too concerned about it spreading, otherwise we might have stayed and watched it. But yeah, so that interrupted our rest of our camping trip, so we ended up just coming home. But definitely our most interesting camping trip by far. But anyway, I'm gonna go back to our scheduled content that we're supposed to be filming and talk about the cost of everything. Alright, so I'll run you guys through roughly how much it cost us to make the table. So starting with, we used a cobweb broom for the supporting leg. Look, you can probably use something that's a little bit more stable. We were just going for like cheap and quick. We wanted to get it done. So, but you can definitely get extendable camping tent legs. They would work well and probably slightly better than a cobweb broom. But so our cobweb broom was $5, and then our 250ml tin of stain was $18.90. But I used barely any of it, so we obviously still have that for any other projects that we want to do. We bought a 4-pack of hooks to use to hook it onto the canopy, and they were $3. The lino tiles that we used, they were $2.50 each, so about $10-ish. To cover it took 4 and a chunk of 1 to cover that our size of wood. The wood we already had, but you can get larger pieces for about $40 that you could obviously use for other projects. There was also the bracket that we used so that we could open and close the legs so we can store it. That was about $15 as well, but that was like a 2 or 3 pack of them, so we've also got more of them laying around. And the paintbrush was about $5 as well. So in total, our cost was about $100 to make the bench, which I think is pretty good. Obviously, you could go out there and buy a camping table for cheaper than that, But I think it's always nice to have something that's homemade and, you know, have pride in something. When people ask you, oh, that's really cool, where did you get that from? And you tell them that you made it yourself, is always a good feeling. And it serves its purpose really well. Unfortunately, we didn't get to test it out as much as we wanted to due to our crazy night, but it will be definitely used in future camping trips. Anyway, so this is going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed part 1 of Rexie Reno's. There are many more parts to come. We've got a lot of things lined up to update and renovate in the future. So we'll catch you in the next one.